So first of all, how many Android developers are in the room? Raise your hand. That's like, not everyone. Yeah? Like, I was suspecting everyone. How many of you, have you ever developed a smart TV app? Raise your hand if you're a developer. Okay, yes. Using native Android?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So.
Even publishing on Amazon.
Oh, yeah. Really? Nice.
Failed a couple of times.
So yeah, the presentation today will be about creating engaging Android TV and Fire TV apps. So the formality, I'm Giovanni Laquidara, Gio. It's easier, from Italy. Like, as you can understand from my name and from my English, of course. And I'm senior developer advocate at Amazon. That means that I'm having fun. Before I was software engineer in Android. Now I'm having fun just producing contents, tutorials, and extending my video with generative AI, like putting fake cuts when I do like videos. But let's start to talk about the smart TV words. First, some numbers, marketing numbers. I took like some from like a website, trusted source about statistics. So like the market value of the smart TV will be for 2026 around $280 billion, with a strong adoption in the Asia, Pacific, and North America. So like it will be almost it's a global market nowadays. The potential of the smart TV app development is big because it's still a lot, like there are quite a few apps. It's not big as the mobile as we know, like smartphones and tablet. Like there are, like this statistic is from Google, so there are like over 10,000 apps in the app stores. And the revenue in like 2 years ago was around like, yeah, 1.5 billion. The main business model of TV apps is based on subscription, in-app purchases, and ads. So like selling, mostly like with in-app purchases. This is like, it's the panorama about the smart TV app. If we just like go inside the sets of the Android group, I call it Android group, so like smart TV that are using Android, based on Android, we have two big numbers. This like, I took this from 2 videos, one from the Google announcement at Google I/O, the other one like a couple of weeks ago in the Amazon devices presentation. So like we have more, for Google we have like more than 150 million Android TV monthly active devices, pretty big number. For Amazon, the Fire TV family, it's one of the most famous one. It's one of the most used one. Like they sold it more than 200 million. So like quite a lot. So the hardware is there, and the app stores are there. The apps, yes, but like there is still a lot of opportunity to grow. So I'm not here to advertise you to develop the apps for that app stores, for the smart TV, but I will just give you some advice around how can you actually develop this and how it's different from the world, the mobile world that we are like used to develop with. For smart TV apps, content is the king. This is like a pretty famous quote, very famous like sayings, but it's true. Because you can develop a super beautiful app, but if the content is poor, because the TV is actually a media to consume, it's a hardware that the user uses to consume content. So if you don't have content, probably it's better to work on that. The main categories of most successful app for smart TV are, the king is the streaming apps. So like, okay, the big one, but there are even a lot of small apps like doing streaming. Games, but this is a totally different field, like using totally different frameworks, probably multi-platform, or no problem, right? Multi-platforms. Then we have like a small subset of apps that are really successful, that are health and fitness apps. And now we are seeing a little bit of growth in the educational app, like app about learning something, new languages, and so on. So these are the big categories around that are successful in the world of smart TV apps. So the presentation is about creating engaging TV apps for Fire TV and Amazon. for the Fire TV and Android TV. Creating TV apps is a big, big topic because it's something that there is a big problem that we as an Android developer have already faced this in the past. Like even now a little bit, but the situation is getting better. It's the problem of the fragmentation. Like in Android we have different devices. If you have to develop for a smart TV, you have different devices with different OS. So like it's extremely difficult to develop an app that is working everywhere. Like we have smart TV for, this is the Samsung one, like powered by Tizen OS, Fire TV from Amazon, Android TV from Google, the Apple TV, and WebOS is like from LG. So these are the most famous platforms with completely different operating system. Not all are completely different because like for what concern like related to the Android-based TV, Amazon Fire TV and Android TV are using Android. So the platform at least is the same. At least because Fire TV is based on an Android open source version of Android. So that means that it's not containing the Google Play services are not running officially on the Amazon Fire TV and hardware from Fire TV. So we're gonna focus in this presentation on Android TV based apps. So Google, Android TV, and Fire TV. So first of all, we need to start. How can I start? Like if I'm an Android developer, I want to do like an app for Android TV. From Android Studio, there is the templating system, and there is a way like if you start a new project, select television as a platform. And there is a blank project. This is actually using consolidated but a little bit old technology stack, and we will see in a bit. But it's essentially created the skeleton of the app for you. And a TV app for Android is based, I mean, the most significant things that you can associate to a TV app in Android is declaring in the manifest that your activity, the main activity that will run on the TV, will have the content filter, we will have the category Limbeck Lancer added to the intent filter. This is like the main intent filter to launch like on a smartphone, but for the Android TV you have to add this on the manifest. So this is pretty easy. If you do just this it's an app that it can run and start your TV main activity on the TV. If you have you can decide that your app will run on a tablet, on a smartphone, and on the TV. In this case, you have to declare another main activity that is the one running on the smartphone if you want to differentiate the two activities. Then in the manifest, you need to add another couple of lines that are the uses feature. So you have to declare in the manifest that your app will use the Limbeck. Limbeck is a UI system that is running on top of Android that is adapting the operating system for the TV. So like handling the user interface, the notification system, the control system that can be controlled, that will be controlled by a remote like this. So to declare that your app is a TV app, you have to add this feature. And you have to, if you want to put your app in the tablet or smartphone, you have to declare this feature as a false, not required, required false. If you put required true, your app will be filtered by the App Store to be runnable only on the smart TV, the Android TV, and Fire TV as well. Another user feature that you have to put in the manifest is declaring the touchscreen as a not required, and this is because the majority of the TVs are not interactable using the touchscreen, by using the remote. And we will see this, what actually cause. So up to now we have creating Android TV and Fire TV apps. This is the only thing you have to do, exactly this. Because if you run the project in Android Studio, you will see in the emulator on whatever TV the app. And then if you have your content, you can connect your content in the app, and you actually develop an app. But what if you want to create like an engaging app? So I asked ChatGPT, what is an engaging TV app? Because like engaging can be like a marketing term. It is a marketing term. But essentially, ChatGPT answered me like this, like developing an engaging TV app requires attention to user experience. Okay, thank you, even for the smartphone and tablet. Optimize the design for TV interfaces, this is important. And content delivery, the suite of 10-foot UI. And also ChatGPT explained to me where users are typically seated about 10 feet from the TV screen. So essentially, this 10-foot UI is the thing that is characteristic of the TV. 10-foot UI is the actual definition of the interaction that a user can have with the TV. Why 10-foot UI? ChatGPT said already explained to us this, like the user of a TV app is around about 3 meters between, there are 3 meters, around 3 meters between the user and the screen. And of course, it cannot touch, maybe with a cane, it can touch the TV, but instead of using the touch as a tablet, you need to use a controller like this one. So this is the controller for the Fire TV sticks. I can use it also as a Bluetooth controller. I can use also like to change the slide, it's fine. So in terms of developing an engaging apps, you need to consider all the problematic, you need to fix all the problems that can arise with this kind of interaction. It is totally different from the one that we are already used to. So first of all, the TV it's a communal device. Communal is the right word, I think. Like, it's not personal. You know, the smartphone, you have the screen, okay, like nobody probably is watching the screen with you. In the TV, yes, you can watch it alone, but in most of the time, probably you're watching the TV with other people. So imagine like running the apps there. If you have like some data that is not to be shared with other people, like masking password or like for whatever reason, the privacy of the app need to consider this. But also, because it's a shared device, when you have there should be a really easy way to sign in into an app and also to highlight that user is actually signed in. I don't know, Dr. Grandpa is logged in and the app is running its like whatever use case. And then there should be also an easy way to switch user. You know, like a lot of streaming apps also have this. Like there is an easy way, like in Netflix or in Prime Video, to change the profile. That's what I'm talking about. And this is because the 10-foot UI experience is a shared experience. Then you have to consider a lot of like different things like the colors that on the device, on the smartphone device, usually you don't have this problem, like the color bleeding. So if you are using colors that are particularly bright or like fully white, and then you have the color bleeding, and it's actually the light of a color impacting the widget of the color of the other widget. So you can see like the light bleeding like on the left. Or you also need to choose a color that make the contrast accessible. So not like in the slide. So it's actually also almost impossible to read properly that, because the user will be like far away from the TV, and will have the accessibility is like important even on the tablet, on the smartphone, on the website. But for the TV, it's even more important because the user is far away from the screen. And color also have this other issue, that is the color banding. So that means that if you are using a lot of if you are using gradients with color depth, that is actually the sets of color that you can represent on a screen, some hardware, some TVs is not have a color set that is, some TV will not be able to display all this color set, and then your beautiful gradient of your UI will be displayed like the one on the left. So you need to be aware even of these things. That's okay, these mobile are more designer problem, but if you are the only one developing the apps, you need to take care of this as well. So like, try to don't use too much color depth for the gradients. And also to fix the color bleeding, we suggest to use colors that are considered cool colors, that are bleeding less than the warm colors on TV. Of course, TV also is like relative on the hardware. There are OLED TV that are different from other types of screen. So the best thing is actually to test. Of course, you cannot test on every hardware, but this is the problem of the fragmentation of the TV market. Then we also have a problem to fix that is about considering the right layout for the app. The guidelines suggest you to start from a layout 960 over 540. And then from there you can scale up to, this is like the 4K version of the TV. So this is totally different from the smartphone, and it's like adapting the screen resolution and the layout to a 16 over 8, 16, 8, 9 like proportion. Then there is another thing, like, okay, you have a lot of problems with the TVs, like developing TV. Yes. There is another thing that is called the safe zone. You have to show the widget, the interactable widget of the TV app inside what is called a safe zone. So that safe zone is an area on the screen that you will be sure that will be always shown to the user. Because in the past, the TV has a problem called overscan that was actually removing part of the content on the edge. This is for the old technology of the CRT. But still now, like, it's fixed for the majority of cases, but still now there is hardware that have this problem. From the settings of your TV, you can adjust, like put a little bit on the left on the screen and a little bit on the right. But of course, like this is like making more complicated the life of the user. So like from Fire TV, for instance, you can select, you can decide to show the safe area from the developer option. It was in the video. So, and actually the safe area is the one contained in the red rectangle. So like if you put some widget here on the red, and it's not safe, it can be hidden in some devices. So like be considerate on that. It's around 5% from the edge. Or like, yeah, there are different guidelines from Google and different guidelines from Amazon, but yeah, more or less it's that area. But you can test it for sure. Then the navigation, because like you're not using the touch, your layout for the app need to be simple enough to be allowed to be properly navigated with this. That is actually like in the video games a cross, and then you can go up and down and select the elements of the screen. So don't do like overcomplicated layouts, especially because the user, even this, like it's part of the Tenfoot UI, don't want to be bothered like usually like he's watching a TV after work or like whatever, and you want to be relaxed. Even like in the state of mind is like being relaxed, and the navigation should be the simplest as possible. And associated to the navigation is the focus. The focus is like highlighting which item is selected by the user. And this is different from smartphone and tablet because it should be more highlighted. So like it cannot be like a color change. Like for instance, this is like coming from the Google guidelines. The cards, that is the element, the card selected should be like with a Z value high enough to be perceived by the user. This is a bad kind of, this on the right is a bad kind of focus management because like from far away, probably you cannot really see like a little bit of border highlighted. It's better to highlight the focus more. Okay, like we have to handle the color, we have to handle the widgets, we have the navigation, just, okay, I need a UI, a layout like this. How can, like, there are some libraries that can help us, yes, there are. And like Google in the past, this is a pretty old project, created the Limbeck library. So it's an SDK, a library that you can use straight away to, there are already layouts predefined that you can use. And this is like what I was talking about. If you create a new project in Android Studio, it's a television project, it will be using Limbeck. So it's already in the build or create of the dependency. There are already the XML files. Yes, it's using XML. It's a really old project. And this using, there are also the logic handling the search button, and this using Model View Presenter. So it's like really like 2 generations old respect to the new stuff. And if you want to use Limbeck for Fire TV, yes, it's compatible. But the only thing is not the search fragment is not working. The search fragment is the one that allows you to look for a content, like the one with the lens, because the search fragment in the Fire TV is using Alexa for the voice control, because you can use actually Alexa instead. Like Google gave you the possibility to use the Google Assistant, but also like to be pretty open to use whatever you want for the search. Instead, like for Amazon Fire TV, you have to use Alexa. And then if you want to use Limbeck, so you have to take care of this. Like I said, like Limbeck use MVP. This is like a little bit of graph that you can check on this article from Google. Like to modify the widget, you need to modify the logic of the widget. You have to modify the logic of the presenter. It's very hard to customize properly. It's easy if you need to customize the branding, colors and something like that, but it's hard if you want to customize the behavior. It's pretty complicated. If you want to use Limbeck and you want to go on Amazon Fire TV, we have a project that is open source. It's called a Fire App Builder. This is also very old. I am maintaining this now. It's totally in Java. Okay, I'm fixing the stuff. No. Yeah, it was the first thing I said this. And we are improving it. Of course, it's a massive project. You can actually download, clone the project, and if you build it, you have an app ready to be deployed on the TV, Android TV, because it's compatible with Android and even with Fire TV. So there are the logic to handle all the differences. So it's pretty good for this. It's not pretty good because in Java. As a logic, it's a plug and play template. So that means that they say like this is a marketing quote. Like you can create an app in less than 1 hour, yes, but you need to it's a marketing. Like you have to, if you have your own videos, it's easy to integrate there. But then if you want to customize, then you need to do some development work. But it's pretty used for non-developers. That's what I mean. Like that's why it's easy to use it, because you have to. There are like JSON configuration files that you can use to enable or disable modules in this app, and it's handling a lot of features like analytics or like Alexa or other things that you can imagine like around the TV apps. So like even people that are not really developers can use this one. We are improving this tool. I'm actually supporting. I mean, it's a really big project, but it will improve in the past. Even because I like Kotlin, because I like a little bit Limbeck, but I don't want to use any more like XML for the views. I would like to modify and improve this project, especially because now you can develop UI for the TV with Jetpack Compose. Like Google presented this last year, but like some months ago, it became stable in the 1.2. So you can actually use Jetpack Compose to develop for TV. But it's not the same as Jetpack Compose for smartphone and tablet. To use the Jetpack Compose for TV, you can like add the dependency line of foundation, TV foundation, and TV material. These are totally different from the foundation and material for smartphone. Why? Because the behavior of the widget is different. Like for example, the focus management. Like this can be for TV is not like a smartphone, and they couldn't like do a version that is supporting both. And if you try to use like material has all the things about material design for Jetpack Compose. Foundation is the container of all the widgets. There are quite a few now. If you mix, and this is something that I had, like in my experience in the past, if you mix the normal Compose material, so no from TV, with Foundation, something bad happens. Okay, like a lot of issues. So you need to take care of this. Like if you want to use TV Foundation and TV material, you want to develop a TV app, not an app for smartphone. And it's more complicated. I mean, like if you want to use an app that is supporting both. But it's getting there. 1.2. I'm not put the real version of Google. I mean, the current version of Google, but you can check on the website. Widgets there is a TV lazy column. That is like a lazy column, but it's under the navigation better than the lazy column for smartphone. It's done in a navigation with the remote and the focus. So like imagine it's a like this is a lazy column containing another list of widgets, and for instance you can see like when the user press down on the column, there is this movement, this animation on the bottom that is scrolling that is different from the lazy column from the Jetpack Compose of the smartphone. So this is one of the differences. And if you are mixing both, it like do a mess. Then there is like the lazy row, of course, and like you can build like a row like of whatever content you want to display. There are other widgets like the lazy row can also be as an important attribute that is like pivot offset that is representing defining the offset of your focused object. So it means that by default is in this position, but you can like decide that the focus object can be a little bit on the right or more on the left. Like this is really good if you want to customize the experience. Like the default one is around the specification of Android at the moment. So this is a pretty nice way to handle the focus. Then you have immersive list. That is a list. Now this is the Bronx video, but it's a list that is actually changing also the background of the things that you are representing. So let's say that when I move the card, when I select a new card, I want to see the background. I want to see as a background the picture that is the photo that is on the card. So I can use immersive list. So it's a list that is enabling the immersion. About the navigation, we have the tabs. There are the tabs. And there are also there is a drawer that you can show on the left. There is a modal drawer and a normal drawer. I like to use like the tab browse. It's like you can see it's like the design need to be simple enough to be navigable with the remote and easy also to be perceived. So like you can select the colors and the things, but this is like the right way to do it. This app, the app that I use to showcase the videos and the Jetpack Compose widget is Jetstream, that is from Google, and is inside the Android TV samples on GitHub. These are all, in this work cloud, these are all the widgets supported. As you can see, there are few, not all the widgets, like probably they are improving a lot. I'm not working in Google, I'm working in Amazon, I don't know, but for sure it's ongoing. And also you can define your own widget using the surface, the material surface, that is like the Jetpack Compose surface, but if you want to do widget for TV, you have to use that one. So yeah, pretty much this. About the control, this is like the main things that the user will use. The one on the left is like similar is the Google one, and this one is the one that I have on hand, like the Fire TV one. They are pretty much similar. And the way you can take the input from them is the normal Android input way. So there is no complicated way to handle this. And also the majority of that is like already managed for you by the operating system. Another thing I use as an input is the voice. So like I said, on Google you are a little more openness. You can use like the microphone and get the voice from the user, and you can do whatever you want. In Amazon, this feature is locked because it's behind Alexa. So whenever I press the microphone button, that is actually the Alexa logo, Alexa has the control on it. So if you want to use this to search content inside your app, you need to create a skill on Alexa, and then you need to integrate that skill on your app. So this is a little bit more tricky. We have a video, you can look on YouTube, like VSK is the voice skill kit for Alexa. Integration for Fire TV. So this is a pretty easy video, 16 minutes, but you can have a little bit the guidelines for how to integrate it. Another thing is about, like I said before, like monetization is really the way that can make us project sustainable, like using in-app purchase, okay, put your apps under a paywall or subscription. But because probably you already have your app on Google Play Store using the Google Play services, on the Amazon App Store, that is the store from Amazon. And on the Fire TV OS, you don't have the Google Play services. So what you should do a porting. We are supporting the porting. It's nice. Like we have a website with all the information that you need for the porting. We are covering a lot of features. So let me like, if you are using the push notification using Google Firebase, that is using Google Play service, you need to use our Amazon Device Messaging SDK. It's called like this. Of course, you need to port a little bit. You need to plan this in advance. But we are also helping developers with SDKs that are actually on top using Kotlin or Java that you can integrate inside your app, and then is selecting for you based on the platform that where your app is running on. If your app has to use Firebase and Google Play services or the Amazon services. This is an example coming from the Amazon compatibility billing library. That means that if you want to use in-app purchase using this SDK on your app, it will be for you transparent to use both. So if your app is running on an Android platform with Google Play services, you will use the Google billing library. If Amazon, using the Amazon one. And the API are really, I accepting question.
Revenue Cats API, is it, can I just
you can,
can I just add it and then backend I can choose whatever I like?
What do you mean, like?
So this SDK, I put it on, and then I choose, depending on the flavor, Google, and I'll change the...
No, this is runtime. This is like selecting for your runtime, so it's fine.
So that would be just only one. Then I could just change it in the background if.
But for this, you're gonna use Revenue Cat. So this is like a library that you put in your APK, and then it's runtime selecting. As long as I perceive the presence of the Google Play services, yes, you can.
The main question is, it's not tied to Amazon in-app billing at all. It's just
the library. Yes, it's tied to Google billing and Amazon library. So it's supporting only two.
Can I have just Google with this and then implement later?
Yeah, you can block the Amazon one. You can
it supports the latest Google Play billing. Right?
Yeah. But it's actually using both runtime. The cons is that your APK will be bigger because it's including both libraries. So it's runtime perceiving this, and this is a way that we are using to help developers. The things like the API also is pretty similar, almost carbon copy with the Google one. So if you need to change it and use this library, you just need to use the dependency, and then you have to change the code. But it's very easy. But we are not supporting other in-app purchase. I mean, with this library, the billing compatibility is one of the example that we are having now. The previous version was not supporting subscription. That is an important thing, so especially for the TV apps. But in the next one, we are supporting it, so it's fine. So that means that before we had an SDK called the App Store SDK that you have to use, or you use Google One, or you use Google Play Billing Library, or you have to choose. Now we developed this. It is like a layer on top of both to help developers to understand. To make easier the job of the developers and also to deploy on Fire TV. And then, of course, if you want more information on this, we are constantly, me and my team, we are putting more on the blogs, content to actually support developers to do the porting, because it's not an easy stuff, of course. This is the blog post. This is the blog that we are sharing with the marketing team, so you can find also marketing. I don't like marketing, but we are mixing this technical article with marketing article. But we started also on a blog on DevTO, and then you can also comment the article. It's pretty. This one is pretty free. You can answer us in the comments. Say, oh, I don't need this feature. I would like you to develop some content around this other feature. And here also we are publishing article around even other technologies like React Native, Flutter. How can you do a React Native app for Fire TV, and so on. One of my last articles was about using Lottie in React Native, using Lottie for the Fire TV Android. like because sometimes like the developers want to use a splash screen, and because Fire OS, that is the operating system of the Fire TV, is based on Android 11 now. So, for instance, there are no the splash screen API, so you cannot use. It's a little bit back on the normal Android, no? So we are like a little bit late. So if you want to do a splash screen, what should I do? So okay, you have to use Lottie and the old way to do the splash screen. So like we are actually supporting developers with it. For development, it's fine. What if I want to test? If I want to test, the Android Studio emulator, the TV emulator is fine for both the platform. So you just like start a TV emulator and you can run your app. You can buy a cheap Fire TV because the Fire TV stick is pretty cheap. I don't remember now the price of the cheapest one. And the Fire TV also has a lot of developers tools that help you to debug the app, like the System X-Ray. That's something that I like. And it's enabled by the inside the developer option. That is like this. But to enable the developer option, you need to press the central button and the down button. So there is that weird animation. And then you can enable the System X-Ray. That is a widget on top on the screen. And with this widget, you have information about the resolution of the streaming of your app, the CPU usage, the memory, the network, like the memory usage of the API. If there are some memory leaks, it's useful to have the information around your app like on the actual device. This is pretty useful. For testing, so I suggest, of course, you cannot test with every TV, but like with the TV stick, it's pretty easy. Or you can use the Android emulator, pretty fine. Deployment, this is the Google Play console. If you want to deploy the apps for the TV now, you have to go to advanced settings, and then inside there is a tab, form factors, and then select TV as a form factor, and then you go through all the store listing option that you have to enable, disable, and give some like some information around your app. So it's a little bit more complicated. In the Amazon App Store, this is the Amazon App Store console. You just need to deploy your APK or app bundle. And because we are able to check from the manifest, you can check it's a TV app. It will be automatically perceived as a TV app. And then you can select from a tab even filter the device that you want to put your app in. So like we can actually like have a granularity of the selection of the hardware. We have also Amazon Fire TV and Automotive tab. I have not the screenshot for it. But because the Fire TV is not only running on the TV, but also we have some automotive company like integrating Fire TV inside the car. So in the car system. And it's pretty interesting because you can enable your app for that system. And why we choose a different tab? Because, like I said before, Fire TV or a TV has not the touch, but inside the car there is a touch. So you need to be also aware that if you want to develop for Fire TV car, you need to handle the touch well. So, and then you decide to enable also for Fire TV and automotive. So that's pretty much it for the deployment. We didn't talk about actually how can it's a TV app, I want to put some video on it. This is pretty much complicated, we require another presentation, but there are, especially because Google presented a lot of different libraries in the past, from the past to now. So before, to play some video or audio, you could use the media player class. This is a more simple object that you can use in Android. And then it's actually helping you to control the UI of the video, like the play, the fast forward. So that was handled all for you by this library. But this was a little bit too simple because partners and developers need to, stitch the ads in the video so you can more, or even pretty much complicated. Yeah, that's a lot of complication around this. So Google created this is the state machine of the media player, okay, but this but then what Google created is the EXO player. It's a more complicated EXO player, totally open source. And because there are some issues feature enabled in the Amazon Fire TV sticks or something not supported from Fire TV stick, Amazon created a Exoplayer Amazon porting on GitHub as well. So if you want to develop an app, like check both which one is supporting your feature. So quite complicated, but manageable. But Exoplayer, that was like really successfully used like from a lot of developers, is deprecated now because Google presented a Jetpack Media 3, the third release of Media, that inside the library has the new Exoplayer. So they decided to put all together inside this big library, Media 3, that it's easier to use than the Media 2, the old one. You have to write less code. There is like you can check like on Google all the videos around and all the articles around it. It's pretty much easier to develop with this. It's a new one, but it's still ongoing also this one. It's not like, I don't think it's production ready still, but it's like a little bit, it's stable enough at least, but probably not officially production ready. So like, I gave you a little bit of like information about how to design, to develop, which tools. I mean, the most important thing for me was giving tools that you can use to build the TV apps, and even like the pointers where you have to look for more information. But essentially, like this is pretty much all, but we still have a problem that is like this, the fragmentation. Say, okay, I build an app, my content is super, why I need to deploy only on Amazon Fire TV and the TV? How can I do it? Of course, if I use Java and Kotlin, you cannot. You cannot. So like, you cannot deploy on Apple TV or Smart TV. So like the other solution that actually the couple of solutions that the majority of developers are using to support the platform is this. I know that maybe you are native and the developers like me, and especially I don't like the one on the right, but the majority of TV developers are using React Native for TV apps, and because they can support easily the platform, all the Smart TV. And like for instance, Flutter has a layer that supports Tizen, and there is in the documentation of the Tizen OS how to use Flutter. React Native has inside the main documentation how to do React Native with the TV app. And with this you can use and actually empower your app to run across all the platform, the Smart TV platform. So in this case, I totally like the native solution. For me, like the multi-platform has its own problem. There is not a silver bullet, of course, but because now there is a more problem around fragmentation in TV, probably these kind of technologies are the best suitable for the job. But of course, if you want to just develop an Android TV app and Fire TV app, you can use Kotlin and Java. That's pretty much it. These are ongoing things, like you see, like Google created Jetpack Compose for TV, the new Media 3, so there is work around it. And Amazon also is helping like developers with SDKs. So yeah, pretty much it. So here, you can find more information about the porting, how to do portings around Amazon Fire TV. Open question.
Thank you.